Let's see here. Looks like it's working. All right. I think we're streaming. We are. I'm saying words, and I think it's showing up on there. Okay. Well, no one's watching yet. Well, hi guys, it's Karnak with Star Wars Armada Explain. I guess for those of you that watch the video later, you don't want to just stare at my face. But here we are, just checking out, make sure things are looking okay. Fix my hair, I guess. Did that work? No. We'll try this way. That's better. Okay. Yes, I'm streaming to you all live to talk about Star Wars Armada Karnak's hair version. Every time I swish my hair, I get to make a free attack on my opponent. If only. Start turning the Krabic with my custom cards, right? Nah, I won't steal his bit. He's got that all. I love watching Krabic's videos, I just want to say, about the custom cards and the things that he just comes up, because I can't do stuff like that because I'm too serious about it. And that's what I love about his videos, is that it's a joke and it's just funny, and I can't do that. I can't, so that's why I love watching videos like that. I'm gonna make sure it's actually streaming to my. I should have made an announcement that I'm live streaming right now. Let's go take a look. My channel. Yep, it says I'm live now. Oh, 3 people are watching me, I guess. Really? Is there 3 people watching? Participants. Nope, I'm the only participant. Okay, alright. What should we talk about? What should we talk about? Let me know when you join and say hello. I'll put that in the chat so when people come in they can see it. Let me. Oh yeah, I probably should post up the link on pages and things, and then that way people will know. Yep, it says I'm live now. Oh, 3 people are watching me, I guess. Really? Yeah, I'm a little bit behind on it. Okay, do. Let's see here. And make sure I'm also posting it up on the forums. Drag some people in here. Oh, just popped my shoulder. It felt so good. Yeah, it took me like 5 minutes to remember how to set up the stupid YouTube thing to even stream, because I couldn't. It shows how often I do it, because I couldn't remember how to do it. There we go. Well, at some point, I probably should just start talking, and then people will start listening, and then things will start happening. All right. Oh, people. There's some people. BD Anger. I won't call you Danger. Wolf 58. Hey guys. Uh, someone pick a topic for me to get going on. I had a little bit of a work day, and my brain is kind of struggling right now. Like, I know, like, there's stuff I want to talk about. I just need some incentive to help get the creative juices flowing. I don't know how big of a time delay. I think it's like 30-second delay. I think actually typing it out in the chat will go faster. Well, I might as well, why don't I pull up the fleet builder, because I'm sure we're gonna need that. And then yeah, I've got all the rebelling the rim obstacles here. If you guys want to see those, there's the per burglars, calling them per burglars. Spoilers if you haven't watched Rebels. The Purgles are the space whales. They get summoned by Ezra, and they smash into a star destroyer, and they pretty much commit Grand Theft Auto and kidnapping, and they steal an ISD with a bunch of people in it. So my new favorite name for them is per burglars because they just bust in and steal your shit. And here's the Xenogorth, Xenogoth, something like that. Little space slugger dudes. Let's talk about new objectives. Proximity mines. Proximity mines are good. Let's start with the proximity mines and then move on to the new objectives then. So I assume you guys have questions about how proximity mines work then? Or are you just wanting... Well, let's just go look at it. Let's go to the fleet builder. Let's start with just how they work for people who don't know. So proximity mines. Before deploying fleets, you may discard this card to place a number of proximity mine tokens equal to half your engineering value, rounded down. You may place these tokens anywhere in the play area beyond a distance 5 of enemy ships and distance 1 of each other. So essentially, if you have engineering value 3 or 4, 3 or 4, when you do halvesies, you round down. So 2, you get to place 2 proximity mines. If you have engineering value of 2 or 1, you get to place 1 proximity mine. They're 4 points. So pretty much if you've got spare points in your list, I guess they're encouraging that you bring mines. So these mines, where's my rule book? Oh god. Ugh. Rebellion the Rim rule book. There you right there. There you are. There he is. So what do these guys do? So just like the mines in Minefield, if a ship ends its movement at distance 1 of a mine, you remove that token from the play area and roll 2 blue die. The ship is dealt 1 face-down damage card for each hit and critical icon roll. This is different. These mines are different than the objective Minefield mines, because the objective Minefield mines, if you do roll a critical, you deal 1 damage card face up. Let's see here. What are people... So for the proximity mine, some people had the question of, boy, the wording on it seems really strange. And when I first read it, I had that initial thought, and then I'm like, oh, they're future-proofing the card. Because a lot of people are like, it doesn't make any sense. You can place these tokens anywhere in the play area beyond distance 5 enemy ships, but there's no enemy ships before you deploy fleets. So why does it say that? I'm like, it's future-proofing. Because you never know, they may come up with a commander ability or a card ability that will allow you to deploy a ship before deploying fleets. So might as well just have that in there just in case. That way you're not throwing a bunch of mines around where that ship is going. I guess the intent of these proximity mines is that you shouldn't be able to put them near ships. So that way a ship is then not instantly just smashing into mine after mine after mine. I do want to note how it says that you can place these tokens anywhere in the play area. Let me fire up Vassal real quick. I want to make a note about something. Thundel, yeah, 3 half rounded down is 1. You're right. Yeah. So it shows how much I can do math today. Ugh. Like I said, I had a work day. All right. Math, who needs it? 5 plus 3 is 1 billion. Okay. Yeah, 4 or 5 gives 2, 2 to 3 gives 1. Yes, Matthew, you are correct. So let's talk about the fact that it says play area. So your entire mat, your 3x6 mat, is your play area. But the thing is that you can only deploy ships in squadrons 99.99% of the time in the setup area here, which is in between the 2 vertical lines. So I guess if you wanted to throw mines out into the non-setup area, I mean, I guess if you wanted to do, um, I mean, what are the mines good for? It's area denial. I mean, just like in real life, you want your opponent to not go in a certain direction. So I guess if you did place mines off, like over here, that like you can deny them from flying in this direction. Not so much deny them, just try to deter them. It's never a denial, it's just a deterrent. I have mines here, so please don't fly in this direction. Although, like with anything, these mines only have, if we put another little token out here, they only have a distance 1 around them. It's like, are they really denying a whole lot? But let's think about this, though. Let's think about it. I'm gonna use these objective tokens as mines, because if you do have objectives, let's just say that somebody does like the standard, like, oh, I put the station there, so I have the middle open to me. But then you can kind of like block in obstacles around it, and then you could place your mines around that. Like, hey, I know you wanted to use this as your entry point, but guess what? I'm throwing some mines in here, which that works. It makes some kind of Presido obstacles in that sense. If you want to come through this area that you thought is safe, you either shoot my mines or you run over them. Which then, if you're bringing a ship up, straight up the middle at them, are they going to take time to waste one of their attacks shooting a mine when you're right there already in their face, for example? I don't think... And squadrons can't attack him either, right? Nope. Squads can't attack mines, so get wrecked. So, yeah. Which that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I know why they did it. For balance reasons, I know why they don't have squadrons attacking mines. Because then squadrons would just wipe them right out. But maybe there should be a detriment for the squadrons attacking the mine. Maybe they suffer, two unbraceable damage. Like, maybe the mine goes off, but it just goes off on the squadron. On the squadron attacking it, you still roll those 2 die, and it just takes 2 damage instead. If it rolls hit or criticals. And it can't be scattered or braced, etc. I think that would have been a good deterrent, and I'm sure that the playtesters, I'm sure the playtesters did stuff like that, and I guess they still determined that that was still, not a very good trade-off. So I get it. I get it that only ships can attack the mines. Let's see here. Oh, hey Matthew, you're what's up, Biggs? All right, that explains a lot. I should have caught your name. Oh, and your portrait. Um, but yeah, it's kind of what in talking to some of the playtesters, it's just kind of like the mines are not there to be some grand old game changing thing. It's kind of like why do you bring an interdictor? Well, you mess with your opponent. That's why you bring an interdictor. I mean, it's a tanky machine, but it doesn't kill very well. But it can screw with your opponent enough that it switches up their game plan that they don't have as concrete a plan of attack coming against you. That's what the mines are for. And you can bring 2 mines if you're bringing 2 flotillas anyway, and if you don't need 8 points, that's 2 mines. You can do what I'm doing right here, where a lot of opponents like to put their station, in the middle, so that way they have an avenue that they're traveling through that's safe, that they can then, use to skew and maneuver off. And then if you can put obstacles around it, it's kind of like having the objective minefields. I don't know if you will see that objective more or not. And remember, just because you place those mines, if you run them over, you're still going to blow up on them too. So I definitely would suggest bringing strategic. That probably would be a very good idea, just so you could maneuver these mines around. What another thing to, no, not another thing, but what else about the mines? I think I did a fleet where I had a bunch of mines. Hold on, was it this fleet? My whale farm? Yeah, it's my whale farm. So hyperspace migration, I have it to where, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 proximity mines I can put down, because command cruiser can pop down 2, Pelta command ship can pop down 2, Assault Frigate Mark B can pop down 2, and then the GR is 1 and 1. And then my hope is that they'll just pick hyperspace migration, which is, you know, the space whales going from one side to the other, and all you do is just put a layer of mines. It's like, all right, you want to come fight me? Come fight me. I'm just gonna sit here farming these space whales. Somebody call Greenpeace. uh, that's kind of my it's a very lulzy thought. It's probably not any good, but at the same time, proximity mines I think is definitely going to encourage more fortress building. Like in combination with like planetary ion cannon or other lists that are wanting to fortress, I think proximity mines are going to give them that ability to fortress more because the proximity mines, right? You can't use strategic with them; they're not objective tokens. Sorry, I'm looking at Vassal. I have the objective tokens out. I'm thinking of minefield mines. Proximity mines you cannot move with strategic. So VCXs and Lambdas are useless with the proximity mine tokens because you can't move them. So once they're placed, that's it. They're there. They can't do anything else. So you gotta really think about it before, just don't run into your own mines, I guess. I already got a local guy who never stopped bringing minefields. And yeah, you guys, I just read the chat now, and yeah, you guys are right that, yep, it doesn't work. You guys are already on top of it. Yeah, yeah, you guys are getting it. You guys picked it up. So that's, I guess what are some questions about mines that you guys have? I mean, they seem pretty straightforward. Are there going to be any lists that are going to be good with them? Yeah, as I mentioned before, I think that if you're already doing a fortress list, I think they encourage more fortress listing. But if you're a highly aggressive list where you want to move and move fast and chase things down, there's always that risk your own mines might get in your way based off deployment. So again, area denial, they can be placed anywhere in the play area. They're placed before deployment. So if your opponent mines are the counter mine, fortress mine, list mine. it's like, oh, so was it going to be like Yu-Gi-Oh where it's like, oh, I see you placed your mines there. I'm going to place my mines there too. It's like, I've fallen into the mine cards. Gonna make double blue or single red flagships better for being able to shoot those from a longer range. Yeah, you would need to bring something. So, mines are more useful than against ships that don't have that. They only have the short range die to take them out. Because it's when a ship performs an attack, yeah, it's anti-squadron attack. Okay. Just making sure I'm understanding the rules here. Yeah, treat it as a squadron. Okay. So I guess that's true, but I still don't see that still being as much of a deterrent against carrier ships already. Mines of Gravwell seem good. Station assault, a contested outpost. Yeah, again, fortress lists. I see them being useful for fortress lists and for lists that want to just fortress and farm points and make the other player come to them. And I don't fault people who play that way. It's just not the way that I play. So I am having a personal harder time wrapping my head around their uses compared to maybe somebody else who does more of the point farming list. I hate point farming. I guess I'll do it, but like I don't like to. I like getting in people's faces, chuck and die, and typically watching my ships explode is typically how that goes. Aggressive players could still use it because let's think about this realistically. So if I choose first player, which is typically what I do because I love going first. Not to say that going second is bad. If you have a list that can do first and second player and be awesome at both, that's the list you should take. Not the list that where you think, oh, I bid 20 points, I should have first every time, and then somebody bids 21 points, and then guess what? You're screwed because your list sucks at going second. So let's think about this realistically. If you did have, what's a common Imperial build? Star Destroyer, like Gladiator, Demo, some Squadron. So, at least you're putting, we're going to say on average with a flotilla, let's say that most Imperial lists on average are bringing they're able to put down 3 proximity mines. Proximity mines on a Star Destroyer and then 1 on a Gazanti. So we'll say 3. So let's just say that there is somebody who's wanting the point fortress and they've built up their little hole over here that they're going to try to hide in. Just throw some obstacles down and things. I mean, you could, because again, first player, you go first. So what you could do is you could start chucking some mines down in there. That as a deterrent of like, hey, don't deploy here if you're going to fortress. You're gonna eat some mines. The issue is that the mines, they only trigger when they end movement, right? Yeah, when they end movement. I mean, they can't deploy. No, they could deploy overlapping the mines, right? Yeah, because unless it's the SSD. No, SSD can only not deploy over. Oh, where's my SSD rulebook? Oh my gosh, you guys are making me think too hard already. All right, SSD. It can only so you can deploy overlapping the mines. You can. so then what? They deploy their ships on top of the mines and then they move out of them? I don't know. Like I said, I could see it as a first player trying to set up like an area of denial with the mines of like, hey, I don't want you to be over here. Please don't deploy over here. But then I just still see people just kind of blowing them up or moving past them anyway. So I'm still not quite seeing their full potential. I'm sure somebody will smash me in the face with it with a game and show me their full potential. I'm just not seeing it. Two ship. No bigs. I am no more 2 ships. 2 ship. So I understand people are still frustrated with 2 ship, and a lot of people think that 2 ship is still going to be a thing moving into the new meta. It's not. It's not going to be a new thing moving into the new meta. For anyone who's a tournament player, knows and understands the full mechanics of how 2 ship works right now. It's the same deal for when the Clonisher was out back in the day. Not that I was around for it, but I know all about it. I read up on it. The Clonisher was considered so unbeatable and so unfair, and then guess what happened? People figured it out, and you couldn't win with it anymore. It's the same thing with 2 ship. Is it still frustrating? Yes. Is it still a good list? Yes. But experienced players know how to beat it now. And as we saw at Gen Con, there was no 2 ship lists in the top 8. There was no 2 ship lists in the top 15. From what I remember, there's like, all it was a bunch of rebels. It was like, oh, look at all these rebels in the top 25. It's like, holy crap, we had to dig. So at Gen Con, the prizes was top 8 rebels got prizes separately from the rest of the prize pool, and top 8 Imperials got prizes separately from disregarding the ranking. You know how far down I had to go to find Imperials on that list? I had to go way down. Like, I had to go far down this list to find top 8 Imperials for that, and that's where all the 2 ships were. They were way down there. They didn't make it to anywhere near top 8 in Gen Con. Now, Sam's list, I don't consider it a true 2-ship list because it's an Interdictor, Quasar Fire, and Gazanti. Is it the same archetype? Yeah, I would say that classified as the same archetype. It's Imperial Heavy Squadrons of Squall. And that's kind of where the meta is stuck at right now. As new stuff releases, it will shift a little bit, but guys, the Imperial Heavy Squadron meta is really not going to change. It's pretty much going to stay the same. It's not going to. Squall is just too good. Squall is just fantastic. Now, let's talk about, are any of the new squadrons, Imperial squadrons, going to get taken instead of maybe something we're already familiar with? I've got a few words to say about that. So we've got Hondo, we've got IG-88B, Morville, or Marvelo Lights, that's what we call them. Intel. Guys, I'll be honest, I'm super disappointed in the new Imperial squadrons. I kind of think they're all crap. I mean, sure, I'll take Hondo for 2 points less than Boba Fett, I guess. The only difference is he throws double blue instead of a blue-black, which, yeah, that sucks. But, he's 2 points cheaper than Boba Fett. He's only 3 more points expensive than Merrick Steele. I think the new combo, guys, that you're going to see is we're not going to see Moraki anymore, because why were we bringing Moraki? Three blue die that you could reroll. They were rerollable blue die, and she had a lot of health. But that single brace really held her back, and her 3 anti-squadron black die makes her just kind of really crappy in anti-squadron engagements. She's gonna be replaced by Hondo. She's gonna get switched out for Hondo, hands down. Why? Well, you save 3 points. So that's 3 points of something else in your squadron ball that you can now upgrade. Hondo is still throwing the double blue, which, yes, he doesn't have the die fixing that Merrick Steele has, but I mean, odds are you're still going to throw double blue, and now at least you're throwing crits into it, where M Key couldn't crit at all. I mean, you can't replace her ability of just here's 3 damage in your face, just eat it, brace the 2, but I really think she's going to get, again, switched out for Hondo, because Hondo can still throw 2 damage, and now he can pump crits through. I don't care about his card ability. Card ability, whatever. He's got double brace. He's actually more survivable than MK is because of double brace. I guess his ability will be all right. It says during your activation, instead of attacking, you may toggle the activation slider of one squadron at distance 1 to the activated side. If it's already activated, you may place it anywhere at distance 1 of you. So pretty much he's giving up his attack to toggle somebody else, which, with Jendon around, at least then Hondo can still attack after that. Yeah, I guess he's useful for shutting down one squadron. If they've got Wedge, he would need to be in position to then, I don't know. I mean, his ability is kind of useful in certain situations, but not as many situations as you would think. But he's cheaper than Boba Fett, and he's cheaper than MK, so I think that's kind of where I'm at with that. Well, what do you guys think? Do you agree with that? But he can move things. Yes, Hondo, he can. He's a friend to all, and I'll move all your things for him. But Biggs, do you kind of agree with my assessment? Do you think that MK will get swapped out with Hondo based on what I was saying? Big Squadron is kind of insane. Yeah, but he's given up an attack to accomplish that. I don't know. I don't ever see a situation in an anti-squadron versus anti-squadron fight why you would give up an attack to move someone. I can see it if you need to activate and shut down someone who's about to kill you. uh, what, just toss steel out the airlock? No, man, I would never give up steel over. I would toss M key out before I gave up on steel. Steel is my bay. Steel will give you everything and more. He'll service you in flight even. I guess let's talk about some of the other rogues while you guys are kind of chewing on thought process. IG-88B, trash. Trash. wedge. I do like the fact he's got double blue, double black. That's nice. He still only has one defense token. Watch him get murdered by Wedge. That's what happens to me every time I brought IG before. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go hit this thing, and then Wedge killed me in one shot. Cool. Like, why did I even bring this guy? Just the fact that he only has the one defense token just really, really sucks. And also, just his timing. I mean, you could wombo combo him with Hondo and Notka. That's about the only thing you could do is at the start of the squadron phase, you Hondo and activate IG-88 so he can Death Blossom, which that would make up for Hondo not attacking. But God help you if they've got counter. IG-88 will get murdered by counter. But I do enjoy the fact he's got double blue, double black. I think that is slightly better anti-squadron than quad blue. I mean, it's a trade-off. It's all a trade-off. It's you can mostly hit harder, but you sacrifice the ability to get accuracies. Which IG-88, by the way, I finally, after a lot of thorough discussion in private PMs with Dreas Nida, I have finally been convinced that IG-88B is not stopped by Escort. Because all these squadron keywords on there, so think of it as the rules reference where you have all the rules written out in there, right? Think of those squadron keywords as supposed to have been written in the rules reference booklet. And think of the squadron card text that's unique to him as an upgrade card, which trumps any keywords. So he can ignore Escort, but he still will get the crap countered by him out of counter, because counter still hits anyone who performs a non-counter attack against you, because you're still going through all the rest of the steps of an attack with him. So I finally have been convinced of that, and it took until Dreas explaining that to me for me to understand and get that, because I've not had anyone ever explain it to me like that before. And once he did, though, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's like, duh. So thanks to Dreas for pointing that out. Yeah, move people onto the Xenogorth, yeah. Yeah, I do think that Decimators might see a little bit more play with the advanced transponder net. Same thing with YV666s. I think people will still try to make YV666s work, and they'll be like, yeah, they kind of do okay, and then realize that they're still trash, and then toss them out the airlock still. But yeah, I definitely could see the combo of Hondo with IG-88B, but otherwise not impressed with IG-88B. Let's move on to Marlboro Light here. I do like the fact that he's got double blue over Bosk's triple or quad black. I do love that fact, but again, the single defense token just kills it. Just really kills it for me. He's 1 point less than Bosk, so I know people are worried. Oh yeah, and his anti-bomber or his bomber die is double blue instead of blue black, which is a little worse. But hey, at least he gets some blue dye in his attack pool for anti-squad. Otherwise, will you see more play from him over Boba Fett or over Bosk? I think, like with all things, it depends on the list that you're bringing. I know some people are worried that he'll see some abuse with Lambdas, but to get to that level of abuse that you're talking about with Lambdas and objective tokens, okay, so he's only got the one brace. He can die in 3 squadron activations, which most alphas should at least be 3 squadron activations. So if your whole list evolves around this guy doing all the heavy lifting and the work for you, and then he dies in the initial alpha strike, so cool, you got 3 lambdas, bro. Like, what are you gonna do with 3 lambdas? Ooh, that double black. Yeah, you will see him where you have a lambda in your list already, and you want to have some play with objective tokens. You should not build lists around him. That's asinine. That's not going to go well for you. You could even theoretically bring him to counter other people's objective farming lists that have strategic. is my thought. That's the only thing I could think of. So I think he'll see play as a regular squadron just because he's got the double blue, double black, not because of his objective token move attack ability, which I just consider that a bonus. It's just a bonus if you can get it to work. But if you can't get it to work, he's still a good squadron on his own. Again, 22 points. He's only 1 point more than Merrick Steele. Not a bomber, but at least he's got 7 health and a brace. Trade-offs. It's all trade-offs. What do you guys are saying about that? Yeah, VCXs get so much freaking better with Advanced Transponder Net. I'm not excited about that at all. Because think of VCXs with Jam Brace behind that. So cool, I have to fight. Yeah, mind-boggling. Yeah, I don't like Tell. I really don't, guys. I think Tell is kind of crap. I mean, 17 points for Scatter Race. 4 health instead of 3. So pretty much he's Sienna Ree. So Sienna's got the 5-3. He's got the 4-4. Scatter Brace. He can't die. He's a mini zombie. I mean, he'll die eventually. But if you discard a defense token, you can recover up to 3 hull, even if you would be destroyed. So that's nice. Some people have already asked me about, well, what happens if he's got 1 health left and people roll some attack damage and they deal 3 damage and you brace, and so it's 2. Does it go, negative and then it only gets up to 2 hull, or does it go just 0? Well, it goes to 0, so you discarded the brace. It goes to 0 when you are attacked, because it's after defending against an attack. So yeah, when he gets destroyed, his hull goes to 0. That's still during the attack. This is after the attack, after defending. So if you then had discarded that defense token, then you go back up 1, 2, 3. Because it's after defending against attack. Because remember, the attack doesn't complete until damage has been resolved. Then that's after defending. So yeah, he always goes back up to 3 health after being destroyed. Yeah, that's true. You can always spend tokens if you want to just buff him back up with health, or if yeah, because if you were attacked, even if you weren't destroyed, if you just want to get 3 health back, you can discard a token. When you have a ready defense token, you can escort, which that's just, so he's just a really weird escort. But for 17 points, I think you'll see some play with, because with a scatter, an escort with Presido scatter, so they have to attack him once. If they don't roll the accuracy, then he scatters it, and that could be a big wasted attack for them. I think you'll see him in combination with Z Storm, and I think you'll see both of them evolving around guess who, star, MVP, Mauler Mythal. I think you'll see both of them in conjunction with Mythal, also supporting just a regular Jump Master with Intel. And then combo that with like reserve hangar bay on like one ship where sure they come in, they blast away your little piece of crap Jump Master. Don't care, pop one back out, 2 health, it flies back over, does it all over again. That's what I think that you'll kind of see some squadron builds potentially try to build for, or at least rather it's a thought. Let's build it out. So if we were to build him and Storm and a regular Jump Master and Mauler Mythal, what does that put us at? 59 points for 4 squads? That's not bad. That's really not bad. That's actually kind of a nifty little medium squad build there. That's enough to tie somebody up for at least a round if you're lucky to. Which against, as long as you're doing careful play, you're not just like chucking them out there and be like, please alpha me. You don't want to do that. So that's 4. That's 2 drops. What are 2 other guys we could put in here that could pad us up to 6 without breaking 100? Valen Rudor? He's cheap. Sure, we'll throw Valen Rudor in there. The only thing I don't like about Tell, I wanted to mention this. Why doesn't he have Swarm? Why? Why can't he have Swarm? Why can't he have Swarm? Please let him have Swarm. I want him to work with Howl Runner. I know why they don't give him Swarm. Because they don't want him to work with Howl Runner for 17 points. I get it. I understand. I don't have to be happy about it. Yeah, Howl Runner at 16. Yeah, that doesn't really combo with everyone else. Maybe Soontir? Yeah, 90 points for 6 squads. That I wouldn't say that's a bad anti-squadron squad ball. It can't bomb at all. But for 90 points, it's definitely going to roadblock, 130 squad points. I'd say really good. Let's see if this guy is just wrong. Yeah, comes back to life twice because he's a zombie. Yep. He has 1 HP, red base, and it's dealt 1 damage. You can spend it anyway and heal. Yep. Stuffed if you get accuracy. Yeah, he doesn't like getting accuracy. Hey Troy, thanks for your compliment there. I don't do a whole lot. All I do is just explain things, and even then I get it wrong like 30 to 40% of the time. Cheaper than MMJ. So yeah, 90 points. I'd say that is. I mean, if you know what, I can compare this to the dumpster fire. Biggs's dumpster, or the dumpster fire, the Biggs ball. Can it outfight a Biggs ball? Yeah, yeah, I would say this could outfight a Biggs ball because of all the scatters, and with Soontir in there dealing the auto one. It's like, cool, you're going to shoot Tell, I'm going to auto 1 damage. You're going to shoot Z, I'm going to auto 1 damage you. Or you could just put Soontir off on another side of the squad ball to just be annoying because he still has counter and scatter. I definitely would say that this could go to toe with the dumpster fire Biggs ball. I'd say it's comparable because, it's Mauler. Mauler's stupid. I do wish Mauler. I wish that effects like Mauler Mythal didn't exist. I think it's more of a detriment to the squadron game than a help to it. I think that's it for the Imperial squadrons. Like I said, I really do. So if I was to build a squadron ball with Hondo instead of Mora, let me build back out one. See where we can make some potential changes. I always like Saber Squad. Where's Saber? Saber, Saber, Saber. There you are. There you go. Jendin. Who doesn't love Saber? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more. I usually take Black Squadron. Yeah, we got Dengar in there. That's one. I can't take Z. Who's cheaper than Z? Rudor? Rudor. 134. So you could bring Hondo, Steel, Dengar, Mauler, Saber, Jendin, Black, and Rudor for 134 exactly. I'd say that's a really good squad ball. Or if you don't like, or if you even wanted to downgrade Dengar to bring Storm over Black Squadron, right? I think we can do that. Jumpmaster, upgrade him to Storm. 132. I'd say that's a pretty spicy squad ball right there. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like that option because these Storm with the double brace helping to protect your Jumpmaster or Mauler. Rudor is just there just to be annoying as he always freaking is. I'd say that's not a bad squad ball. Again, I do think that Hondo will live longer than Mora with the double brace. Because, man, I can't tell you how many times that somebody would fly up, roll an accuracy and 3 damage, and Mora's, like, dead. Like, that same, like, alpha activation. She just gets murdered because of the 1 brace. And then also, remember, she can only re-roll If she's already activated and she spent her brace on rerolls, that just means she's going to die even faster. So I feel like Hondo is a safer bet. I feel like he's a safer bet than MK. MK is if you just want to go, to try to get that 3 damage. So just like with anything, it's going to give you more options. So I guess of all the new Imperial squadrons, I'm most excited about Hondo. Most excited about Hondo. Let's talk about the new Rebel squadrons, though. Let's talk about the new crazy things they've got going on. Yes, Biggs, you're correct. The dumpster fire isn't intended to win the squadron fight. You're right. I know because I helped Schmitty train, and I feel like in comparison, the 90 points that the Imperial squad ball that I built out is comparable in that it will also speed bump. So that if you are trying to build a medium wing to take on a heavy wing, it will speed bump long enough for your ships to do work. It just can't bomb like X-wings can. Which, do X-wings bomb? Can they really bomb? All I ever see them roll is blanks. Let's talk about the new Rebels. So Rebels, I think all the squadrons that Rebels got are good with the exception of one. So let's start with Kane and Jara. So same cost as Jan Ors, but man, he's good. So pretty much he gets double assault. So he can raid if you roll a crit, which assault is raid if you roll a hit. So if you do attack a ship with double blue, and as long as you're rolling one hit and one crit, you could spend both to double raid a ship. Ridiculous. And he's cheap. The thing I hate about gauntlets is how expensive they are and how fast they still die. And Kanan Jarrus is only 19 points. He's got double brace. Now, granted, if anyone is chucking 3 damage twice in a row at Kanan, he's going to explode. You do have to be very careful of him. I definitely would recommend that he's flying under some sort of escort. And if he is being protected by escort, you're going to have a hard time trying to lock him down, as he's essentially a Presido slicer tool. Cheaper slicer tool. And doesn't have the slicer tool restriction. I think he's just good. He's for 19 points, 4 health, he's good. Essentially, he's a flotilla. He's cheaper than a slicer flotilla for Rebels. And he can stick on a target the entire time. So I like him. I think he's going to make me very, very angry in future games to come. Yeah, he's just good. I like him. He's good. I don't know what else there's to say about him. That one single red die he has in there is going to be like, it's either going to be double or it's going to be a miss. No in between. Let's talk about Lando. Lando is fucking ridiculous. So if you guys don't know, he's a design a card from a former world champion, which they don't do the design of cards anymore. Wonder why? Too many broken stuff come out. I think Lando is a little broken, but par for the course for Rebels, am I right? So red, double blue, black, and red and blue for Bomber. Double brace, speed 3, 7 health. Yeah, he's gonna wreck face, I feel. Especially being so I really don't see anyone taking Lando without not bringing Jam. Because you want Jan to brace for Lando, so Lando can use his braces for other things. And a lot of people are thinking that Lando is he's just gonna roar in, he's gonna spend his braces like right off the bat. You have to be tactical about his brace spending for his while attacking ability, which while attacking you may discard a defense token to set 1 die to any face. That die cannot be modified again. While defending, you may spend one of your defense tokens to force the attacker to reroll 1 or more die of your choice. When is that going to be beneficial for reroll compared to just bracing damage? Well, you could get lucky and they could always reroll into no damage, which is better than bracing damage. Where would I reroll and not brace if they rolled just some hit? It's like, oh, if I brace, I'm still taking 2 to 3 damage. Might as well reroll and hope that they get crap and I take less damage than if I had spent it on a brace. Now, some people are thinking that when he's while defending, no, you cannot use Jan Orz's brace for Lando's ability. I just want to put a stop to that right there. No, Lando cannot go over to his buddy Jan and be like, I need to borrow your brace for these rerolls. That's not how it works. Again, what does this card text say? You always implying that ship or that squadron may spend one of your defense tokens to force the attacker to reroll one or more die. So that's that. But he is good for when his defense tokens are gone or otherwise locked down. You have Jan there to kind of, hey, stop beating up my friend. Let's talk about his while attacking ability, the die modification. Again, this is going to catch a few people by surprise. Some people don't realize this or don't know this yet. So, if Lando does discard a defense token to set one die to any face, that die cannot be modified again. Let me pull out the rules reference book so I can back up what I'm talking about, because some of you won't believe me unless I read it. I didn't realize this until a couple of conversations. Let me find the thing. Is it this one? Nope. I'm looking for modification. Die modification. Somewhere in here. I promise. I'm not going to talk out my butt. I'm going to show my work. I just gotta find the stupid thing here in the rules ref. Modifying die. Here we go. Modifying die. Die can be modified in the following ways to game effect. So remember, if you use Lando's ability to set a die, that die cannot be modified again. What does that mean? It means it can't be rerolled. It means you can't add any die, that's not going to happen here. You can't add a die that's set, so that doesn't play any effect. You cannot change that die, so you can't re-roll that die Lando sets. You can't change that die Lando sets. You can't spend that die Lando sets, and you cannot cancel that die from what Lando sets. So let's talk about the spend and cancel. So the cancel is pretty immediate. You cannot scatter that one die. So whether he's attacking a ship or if he's attacking a squadron, if he doesn't get his accuracy that he needs, he can always set his red die to a double hit. And they can't scatter it. He's going to take 2 damage. I mean, he could scatter Embrace and reduce it to 1. But let's talk about the fact that you never want to use his ability to set a die to accuracy. Because spending an accuracy is still modifying that die. Don't ever do it. I actually had somebody try to argue me that was like, what? No, you can turn it to an accuracy and lock somebody's scatter token. Then they can't scatter it. And then you smack them for a bunch of damage. I'm like, you can't do that. That's part of the modifying die. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you spend an accuracy to lock a defense token. So if you Lando a die to accuracy, you can't spend it because you're modifying it. So don't ever accuracy Lando's die to accuracies. Or don't ever spend a brace to change a die to an accuracy because you cannot spend it. It does nothing for you. So don't do it. Don't do that badness. Let's see what people are saying. Yeah, Lando is good. I definitely see Lando being brought in as like a finisher. Like people have already used defense tokens. Maybe they're already beat up. I see Lando just kind of flying in and being like, hey there, friend, have some cold 45. And he chucks it out the airlock at him. Yep, always learn something new. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff about Lando. It's like, did they realize that this is what all this means when they made him? I think yes, and I also think no. All right, let's move on to some of the other squadrons here. But I mean, he's 23 points. He's 3 points cheaper than Han. I think he's better than Han Solo. Hands down, I think he's better than Han Solo. I mean, Han Solo, his strength is the fact that he can go first before anything else, which can be useful in in being an extra squadron if you're first player in an alpha, or for killing something before it can activate from somebody else's alpha. I think Lando's the better choice because you can't have both. You can only have one of them. They did specify that the italics in the squadron card specify that that is a uniqueness now, other than the dot in front of their names. Malihura or Malihura. I don't know. I don't know who this is. I'll be perfectly honest. I know a lot of Star Wars characters. Have no idea who this person is. Flying the Skurg. How's she different than Nim? She's 5 points more than Nim. Okay. Double blue instead of blue black for bombing, and a red blue instead of double blue. For 5 points more, you seem worse already, Marley. What do you even do? Once per activation, while a friendly... Oh, excuse me, I'm going to cough again. Once per activation, while a friendly ship is attacking a ship at distance 1 of you, and you are engaged by 1 or fewer squadrons, the attacker may spend 1 die to change 1 die to a face of critical icon. So she's like Jonas and Screed rolled into 1. She's a Jonas Screed rolled into 1 for 26 points. It's a thing. For sure, it's a thing. Hammer Sato? I guess she's good with Sato. I mean, I'm trying to think of where she'd be good at, and Sato's the only thing coming to mind. I don't see in any other squadron ball where she's going to be useful. So Sato. She's a Sato fixer for hammerheads. And even then, you got to... She doesn't have rogue, so you still have to command her, which means she needs intel to follow her around. Yeah, Sato. She's a Sato fix for long range throw and die. Salvation. I'm sure Salvation will love her with Sato, because then you can cancel one of your useless reds and turn it into a hit crit on a black die. That's where I see her use, but even then, speed 3. She's a crappier fighter and a crappier bomber. So pretty much, she just wants to fly around and use her ability, and you don't actually ever want her to fight anything. That's what she's good at. She's good for Sato, everybody. Moving on. It's just that's interesting. Mart. Let's talk about proxy mines again. Let's see here. Mart Matten, Sato's hammer. 4 blue and a black. This is compared to Dash's. I believe it's the same thing. Where's Dash at? 24 points, 4 blues, black. Yep. 22 points. So he's cheaper than Dash. He's got Grit and Rogue. Dash has Bomber and Rogue. For 2 points less, that's not bad. At the start of the squadron phase, you may toggle your activation slider to be to the activated side. If you do, you may place 1 proximity mine token at distance 1. So my question is, does that circumvent the other? Yeah, you can place this proximity mine at distance 1, meaning that you could throw this in front of a ship. Because the proximity mines from the upgrade cards have, it's an upgrade card. It has a specific ruling for how mines are to be placed. In this situation, it just says you can place a proximity mine at distance 1. So I guess the question you have to ask yourself, is it worth him? And the only time that I would see him wanting to do this is when he's not needing to make an anti-squadron attack, because I think he still would want to prefer to make an anti-squadron attack. So he's good at getting in front of where a ship is going to go. Maybe he can't quite reach that ship. Or no, it's at the start of the squadron phase. So what would you do? You would have to get something like Adar Talon, move him to where the flight path or where something is coming, unactivate him, start of the squadron phase, then activate him, plop a mine down. So, yeah, because the mine is always going to have better damage potential because 2 damage. They're damage cards. They don't even get stopped by shields. So he potentially could just ruin MC30's day. That's for dang sure. MC30s are gonna freaking hate him. Flotillas are gonna hate him because with the flotilla flak, they won't kill him ever. Um, yeah, pretty much he can just sit in front of ships and just drop mines all day, unless they're going super fast at speed 3 or speed 4, and they can get around him. That's what he's going to want to do. He's going to be like, hey, you want to shoot this other guy, you're not going to take time to shoot one squadron in your front arc. That's kind of where I see his use. For 22 points, that's not bad. Is it better than Nim? that's kind of what you have to compare to. Is it better than Nim, where you discard defense tokens? You know, like with all things, yes and no. Just all depends. I could definitely see. Oh, I just look. I could definitely see Martin and Luke Skywalker having a ball together. Get Hera, Luke, Mart, and like Nim together. Oh, that's mean. How many points is that? How many points are we talking about for something like that? So Luke, Hera, Nim, and Mart. 91 points for 4 squads, everyone. That's expensive. Damn. Oh, that's expensive. But can you imagine? Like the dream is if you got squadronless. It's like these 4 guys could go murder the entire enemy fleet by themselves, no help required. Oh, that's rude. That is very rude. Yeah, if you get lucky, Martin Luke could just wipe out an MC30. Just boom, done. If not, I mean, Luke couldn't wipe out Abnomition because Abnomition can always cancel, his attack die, but can't cancel proximity mines, baby, because it's not an attack; it's just an ability. Let's see here. Yeah, I still think Jonas is better than what's her bucket we were just talking about, the Marley. 10 points cheaper. They all have their uses, but yeah. Um, I was laughing at the concept of not taking Nim. I forget exists on a regular basis. I always forget Nim exists. uh, add Lando, add Jan. Oh no, oh no. Here's Lando. Here's Jan. 133. I have a feeling someone's run this before. Why is this? Why is this a thing? This is ridiculous. uh, 606 squadrons. Oh, they're all so beefy. Look at all that health. Luke would die freaking fast. You would want to keep Luke somewhere safe. You really wouldn't want to use Luke for his escort ability. Jan helps keep Hera alive. Everyone else has such a crap ton of health. They pretty much could fight their way out of a heavy squad ball, except Nim. Nim is fucking worthless in anti-squad. Oof, man, yeah, that's rude. This is a rude squad ball. Because Hera would give Rogue to Luke and Nim. Jam doesn't need it. She just needs to go to free people with intel. Oh man, yeah, this would eat a price 2-ship list alive. 5 rogue activations. Yeah, this would murder a 2-ship squad ball. Yeah, that would murder at least 2 aces in a squad ball for Imperials, hands down. I don't doubt it. Yeah, that is woof. I don't want to see that on a table ever. Don't run it, guys. Just promise me you'll burn this after watching. Oh, with Riken? Oh, I don't want to think about it, guys. Why do Rebels get all the cool shit? I'm gonna be honest. Why do Rebels get the cool shit with these guys? Yeah, Mart's kind of growing on me. I mean, Lando, I always knew was gonna be good, but Mart's kind of growing on me just a little bit, just a little bit. All right, let's back out of this. Let's talk about. Yeah, exactly. Triple Ace, exactly. It's just that's just stupid. It's just so dumb. Kanan instead of Nim, that could work too. There's so many choices. That's just a dumb squad ball that I don't want to think about it. You all have to promise yourselves the secrecy. Don't tell anyone about it, dude. And if anyone's like, "Oh, what about this kind of squad ball?" If you see it, it's that squad ball. You need to tell them it's crap. You need to tell them that it's not any good and to never fly it ever. Please, please don't let that squad ball get out to anybody. Oh, I don't want to. I my brain hurts. Oh. Let's talk about my three Billy Goats list real quick. Some of you have seen this list on the forum. Some of you haven't. Let's dodge this. Yeah. So three Billy Goats. I've been messing around with just stupid lists lately, and I played this a few bits on Vassal, and I'm halfway between deciding to take this three Billy Goats Gruff list or the SSD. I probably will take the SSD because SSD. For those of you who don't know the story, the children's story tale of the three Billy Goats Gruff is that pretty much there's these three goats that want to cross a bridge to get the other side, and there's a troll on the bridge, and the small goat goes over and says, "Oh, you don't want to eat me, you want to eat one of my fatter goats," and the troll's like, "Okay, I'll let you go." And the second goat comes along, and he's a little bit bigger. He's like, "Oh, you don't want to eat me, you want to eat the next guy," and he goes along. And then the troll's all like, "Oh man, this next goat is gonna be so fat, it's gonna be great." And then the large billy goat comes along, and then smashes him off the bridge and kills him, and then goes and eats on the field on the other side. So we've got the IST Kuat, who's the big billy goat. We've got a Haro Victory 1, who's the medium-sized goat. And we've got Demolisher, who's the small goat. And they've got a kid, which is the Gazanti. This is my three Billy Goats Gruff list. So why is that? Because, again, not just because of the goats, but because they're all close-range brawlers like goats. They just want to headbutt you and just smash the crap out of you. So it sucks I've got to bring Strategic Advisor, and yeah, it's not in like all of these by themselves are not really original. This is the first time ever they've been brought together into one list. So Kuat, Strategic Advisor, so you can get the 5 activations. Again, the list does prefer first because of the boarding troopers, but it still can do really good as second, especially against super star destroyers. So boarding troopers, ECM, leading shots, ACMs. I like ACMs personally. Haro with Tua. I like taking the H9s because some people will want a flotilla block my Victory 1. And you need H9s to be able to blast stupid flotillas out of the way. Rax, Haro with engine techs. Guys, I don't know. I'm like a proud father. I see the victory, not just going just speed 2, but going at speed 3. It's like a child riding a bicycle for the first time without training wheels. I'm so proud for the victory, the Haro title, and it gets that swank extra ability at speed 1 where it can get the double nav without navigation. It's so good for 3 points, guys. I love Haro. You're going to see lots and lots and lots of Haro. Haro and Engine Techs, Haro with auxiliary shield teams. It's just going to be great. And of course, we've got Demo. Now, I'm still messing around if I should just take Burnson. Should I take Iden? I think there's pros and cons for both Burnson or Iden, because Burnson, you got to be near an obstacle. What happens if your opponent is wise and he throws all the obstacles off the side of the map, or just puts them all on your side of the board where they're not really going to help you out a whole lot? That's where I kind of like Iden, because Iden at least can still help you in close range. Although granted, you can't accuracy Burnson, you can accuracy Iden. Trade-offs, pros and cons. I'm still kind of messing around with it a little bit. But standard demo bill, ACMs. Now, you might be wondering why I take Rax on the Victory 1. because of H9s and the single blue anti-squad. So squadrons are want to go try to come gobble up this victory. It's gonna happen. So as a deterrent for their biggest, heaviest hitter, I H9 the blue and I toss racks at them and I smack them for some damage back, and then hopefully the other ships can kind of flak and help out with that. Otherwise, just for a victory, I use the racks to help beef up its sides so that the sides are able to do more. And again, with H9s, with the reds, again, as long as you just don't roll all blanks, you can force larger ships to use their ECM so that later on when demo or your Kuwat's coming along, they can still smack them and they're having to spend that brace and you don't need Intel Officer. And Hondo and Comsnet just because Hondo and Comsnet. So that's my 3 Billy Goats Gruff list. It's a lot of fun. I've beaten an SSD with only losing demo. I have beaten a squadron list with only losing. No, almost beat a squadron list. I just barely missed out on beating it. I lost my victory in demo in that game. But again, it should have just only been my victory. I just, like with everything Star Wars Armada related, good rolls are good, bad rolls are bad. So what are you guys thinking about the 3 Billy Goats Gruff? 3 gunboats? Yeah, pretty much. Yes, it is a very, very expensive VSD. Yeah, 108 points. It's like, oh, it's a Star Destroyer. But that's just VSDs. VSDs, every time you start putting upgrades on them, it's like, oh, they're Star Destroyers. Pretty much. But that's my 3 Billy Goats. Let's talk about SSDs. A lot of people are wanting to know, is the SSD viable? Is the SSD going to shake the meta? Is the SSD going to dominate? The answer to all those questions is pretty much depends. Like with all things, when you build a new list, people are going to start imagining that they're going to be fighting SSDs and they're going to be building lists around that. It's not so much talking about if it's going to dominate or not. Let's talk about what the SSD is good at and what it's not good at, and how do you try to build an adequate SSD, and how do you kill SSDs. But let's back up a little bit further than that. Will SSDs be competitive? That's the question people ask me. Are they competitive? Are they going to be good? Are they going to be good if you bring it? I think so. I think they're competitive. You live and die by your dice rolls, though. Like, as much as I say that for about everything else, at least you have an entire other fleet backing up your ships if you get a poor roll. SSD, if you get bad rolls, you are tanked. Like, you're done. Even with leading shots, even with other abilities to have rerolls, if your die roll is still crap, your SSD is going to lose. And that's just how it is. As long as you roll adequate to good die rolls, you're going to do fine. You may not get kills, but you're at least going to be competitive in your SSD as long as your opponent isn't also rolling crazy outlandish rolls. It's going to be able to tank a lot. I do believe that its weakness is still absolutely going to be heavy squadrons, despite having the ability to attack back and kill heavy squadrons. Pretty much it's just all a crapshoot. Did you roll good? Yes, you win. Did you roll bad? No, you lose. Yes, you lose. That's kind of the flow chart for the SSD for both sides. Let's get into some of the. Let's talk about the SSD a bit. I've had some people ask me command prototype or assault prototype in competitive games. If you want to win, take the assault prototype. I have not found a viable build with the command prototype. It is too weak. It is so weak. You get less die in all your arcs, which again, when you're bringing the SSD, I mean, that's really your main source of attack. So if you're throwing less die, it means less damage. It means less potential to do things. This version only gets a single turbo laser and a single ion. Sure, it gets fleet commands, but what are you fleet commanding? You're not hardly bringing any other ships. You don't have hardly any points for other ships. squadrons, I have not found a viable SSD only squadron build list yet for this. Why? Because anything else that you fight that's going to be heavy squadrons is going to out activate you. They're going to wait out your activation, and then they're going to alpha you. And yes, you could keep your squadrons far enough away that doesn't happen, but you're you're still on the back foot, because then they can just go attack another part of the Super Star Destroyer that your squadrons can't protect, and then when your squadrons do get there, then they just attack and kill your squadrons. And again, this version, it throws the 2 blue anti-squadron flak, which is, it's not bad, but it doesn't have the spike damage potential like you get from the red. Like I said, I have not found a command variant that can kill squadrons and kill ships. I've not found something that can do that. Because even if you face someone that's squadronless, sure, you're commanding 6 squadrons with the squad commanding token, but God help you if they brought slicer tools, because then not only you have to dedicate an officer slot for DCO, you have to dedicate an officer slot for the wing commander guy, so you can change your dials to squadron commands. And then the third officer, Callus, you can actually flak squadrons so your squadrons just don't die. Like, it's just tough. It's just tough to fit an adequate squad wing in there with the SSD. That's pretty much your only activation. It's just not good. I've just not found anything good with the command prototype. So my personal opinion right now, until someone finds a way to make the command variant work for 400-point games anyway, don't take the command variant. I would say command variant is hard mode, and so once you actually figure out how the SSD works, maybe somebody can figure out a build with the command prototype. Otherwise, take the assault prototype. The assault prototype, yeah, it's 30 points more, but oh my goodness, what you get for that 30 points. Let me read up some comments here before I keep going on. Yeah. Palpatine as officer. We'll get to Mr. the Senate Palpatine. So the assault prototype, I think is phenomenal. It's awesome. You get anything in that front arc, you're putting a lot of hurt on it. And it's not just the front arc, it's those 2 front side arcs too. And then even when they drop back into the auxiliary arcs, like you're still just pounding the crap out of them. So this SSD build is likely the build I'm going to be taking to a tournament in a couple of weeks. So I was running Moff Jerjerrod. I just switched to Piet. Moff Jerjerrod, it's extremely nice to have the extra ability for all the extra yaw. But I was finding in my games, I didn't really need him. Because 90% of the time, I'm only ever making 1-click adjustments. And I was always wishing that I had Piet. That I had Piet so that I could activate a repair token. So that I could activate a navigate token. And not have to rely on the physical dials like I was with Moff Jerjerrod. So this version has got Piet. I have the Senate, the Officer Palpatine. I have Agent Callus, DCO, Gunnery Team, Quad Laser Turrets, Leading Shots, Overload Pulse. Okay, don't judge me yet, guys. Please don't judge me yet. I know, Overload Pulse. Quad Battery Turrets. And again, the second card, Heavy Turbo Laser Turrets. People are like, this guy's an idiot. Like, who gave him this channel? And Ravager. Backed up by Hondo Anaka on the Gazanti, Comsnet, and Wolf Yarlin on Repair Cruise Gazanti. And this comes in at 383. And this list absolutely prefers going first. Why? Why am I saying that? Why do I have 2 cards that are considered trash tier cards on my SSD? So let's talk about it. So the reason why I want this guy to go first is because with quad battery turrets, Ravager, Confire token. So if you're going at speed 1, and if the rest of the guys are also going at speed 1, that's fine. They're never going to escape your SSD. That's totally what you want. You don't want them to go anywhere. But typically they're going to be going faster than you, meaning you're going to get quad battery turrets, so you throw a blue. Then you do Ravager, and you throw in 2 more blue die with the dial and with the token. So not only are you throwing whatever red die you're throwing out 3 blues. The goal is that you want a blue critical to show up for Overload Pulse. Why? It wrecks TRC 90s. Why does it do this? Because if on your reds, if you roll a double, and then you roll a blue critical, they're going to look at the double and be like, oh, that blue critical is no threat because it's not adding any extra damage. It's exhausting tokens I'm going to spend anyway, so what's the harm? So they're going to cancel that red double. They're not going to cancel that blue crit. And also the same thing when you're facing large ships or other ships. People are going to look at that blue crit and be like, oh, it's exhausting tokens I already have. Why? I think you guys might be picking up on this already. Pop a Palpatine. When an enemy ship or unique squadron declares you as a target attack, it must spend one of its defense tokens if able. Note the keyword spend there. It's not exhaust. So if you've exhausted all of their tokens, if they want to attack you, they have to spend tokens. I had a game where the first time ever, I had an opponent with an ISD, a Kuat ISD. He attacked out the front arc, tossed his exhausted contain token, went to go attack of his side arc, and then realized that he would have to toss a redirect token if he wanted to attack me out of his side arc. And he chose not to attack my SSD with the side arc. First time in history I've ever had somebody with double arc choose not to double arc because they didn't want to lose another defense token. And this is awesome against TRC 90s because, again, how do they work? Well, they want their double evade so they can TRC one shot and dodge any oncoming shots, right? Well, again, if you pulse them, or even if they cancel your pulse, you're still making them spend tokens. So meaning when they go to attack you, they're spending tokens. If they want to TRC, they have to spend you see what I'm saying? You force them to defeat themselves, and it's fantastic. And I had a game where I pretty much won because I still had all of my defense tokens, and my opponent ran out of defensive tokens. And I just smashed him because now, even though he had gotten past my front arc into my auxiliary arcs, no more defense tokens. I'm still tossing 5 die. Ravager, adding in blacks, smashed him. Smashed him to bits. Now, again, why HTT? Why HTT? You're going to be fighting other SSDs. What do SSDs have? Damage Control Officer. What do you not want them to do? Use Damage Control Officer. Again, for people who don't know what HTT does, while attacking, the Brace Defense Token effect cannot reduce the damage total by more than 1 unless it is the only defense token spent by the defender during the attack. This is why I don't take XI7s on my SSD. Because if they want to redirect, that's fine. You can't brace the damage. So if I tossed 8 damage, 7 damage is still going in. I'm still wiping out any zone you just redirected to. If you do want to redirect, otherwise you brace, and then I'm still bracing from 7 to 4. Guess what? Again, I still just wiped out the shield zone. I'm still drilling into the zone that I want to drill. And I just exhausted all the defense tokens because you're not going to want to use your DCO contain to stop that. So again, when the SSD is firing back at me, the enemy SSD, guess what he's doing? He's losing tokens. And what are the first tokens to go? The contain tokens with his Damage Control Officer. Do you see where all these things together just kind of layer on top of each other here? And I do have to give, I don't know who told me about this initially. I think it was Dre's Nida who told me about using Palpatine with Overload Pulse. And then I've kind of just like, that sounds like an interesting idea, and I kind of built off there. I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts, feelings about it? Yeah, somebody mentioned, and I will point out that another powerful combination with the SSD is H9 quad turbo laser cannons. Because then that way at least you are locking out SSD's double brace, but you're still not stopping DCO. So if you have something like HIEs, you're not stopping them from still containing your critical effects. And another thing too is that once a ship's defense tokens are gone with this build, and you don't need Overload Pulse anymore, you just switch to standard crits, and then you start getting standard crits in. But I did lose to an SSD that did have H9 quad turbo laser cannons, but it was due to my own mistake of how I maneuvered my SSD, as I thought it was just only going to end up in one arc, and instead I got double arced, and then that was bad. You never want to get in a situation where your SSD is going to get double arced and take double arc damage without having had a chance to fire back at that SSD that is attacking me. So that put me on the back foot immediately, but even then I still almost beat that SSD. I had it down to 5 damage left when my SSD finally exploded. And that was, again, because of the fact that I took that double arc early on. And even though he had H9s and quad turbo laser cannons, and I never got to brace, again, his SSD was left with only 5 hull when my SSD exploded, and that was with him being able to brace and me not being able to brace. But then he was bracing and then not able to use redirects, essentially. So, I mean, like with anything, it's pros and cons and who gets the better die roll. I always advocate Ravager over Annihilator. Annihilator, so you get additional squadron rerolls. That's not going to help you kill ships. Ravager is going to allow you to add more die to the only attacks you're going to ever make for that entire game. You need that to kill ships. You don't need a reroll on a squadron that's punching you. Callus with QLT is still going to accomplish that just fine. So there are instances of wanting to use both. Some people advocate for doing double CommsNet or double repair crews. I like the mix. Again, I'm using Piet. I want to make sure I'm having the right tokens on there that I'm going to need. And then Wolf Repair Crews is just, you turn one, you bank that repair token, and then he navs the whole game. That way he's not getting in the way of your SSD. And if you need him to, in some occasions, I have run him out ahead to the front arc of another SSD. And it's like, okay, are you going to waste one of your attacks to shoot my Rink-a-Dink Flotilla? Or are you going to spend time shooting my SSD or something else, you know? And in that way, he's been able to kind of plink in some additional arc damage on it as well. Hi, Douglas. Thanks for the shout out. I appreciate it. Because no one's allowed to tell me I can't build some dumb jank and make it work. That's right, Biggs. You show me that command prototype squadron build. You make it work. Piet Fire version 1.0. Yeah, you can use Ravager on squadrons. I use Ravager on squadrons if I need to, especially if there's just one super annoying squadron and I just really want to punch it in the face and make it go away. I want to talk a little bit more about heavy turbo laser turrets. So for the longest time, these have been relegated to the dumpster pile, because let's be honest, there never was a huge demand for them. They kind of were a thing when they first came out, and then they're like, oh, XI7s are just way better, and then they got tossed. But guys, we're getting into metas now, and ships are releasing now. I mean, what new ships do we have coming out at the end of the year? 2 large ships. Okay, Starhawk, the Onager. We've got the SSD now. Larges are very prevalent still in this meta. Trust me, my mind almost melted when I am honestly consider taking HTTs in the future on my Star Destroyers over XI7s to combat SSDs. To combat other large ships, to combat the bigger ships that are coming. Because if you think about it, if a ship doesn't have a brace, when you're tossing a bunch of damage at it anyway, you're wiping out all of its shields. So it doesn't matter if they redirect, because you've just wiped out all their shields anyway. But when it's a ship that has a brace and redirect, they ECM your accuracy, right? And then they just brace and redirect the 1 damage away, and then typically they're still pretty much okay. You really didn't accomplish a whole lot, and then what do? They use a repair token, they move shields into the zone that you tried to shoot, and then their shields are back to full again. HTT makes it so that if they want to contain a critical you're going to get in, if they want to stop a critical, or if they want to redirect, they're sacrificing their damage reduction for it. And I think that's going to be more prevalent with this upcoming wave than ever before, because there's so much competition now for being able to put damage in, but XI7s just kind of don't cut it, guys. They don't. I mean, on a Super Star Destroyer, I could still see the argument of those over HTT, but even then, like I said, they're still going to contain, they're still going to brace, etc., etc. You're forcing them to make poor choices with HTT. And again, I'm considering my Star Destroyers in the future, or my MC80s are gonna take HTT. For the reasons I've listed, it's still, you can still drill a hull zone with it, and it makes braces useless because almost everything has a brace, and what does almost everything with a brace have? Almost everything has ECM. So why bother trying to get accuracies? I mean, that's great if you can get double arcs or other things can shoot at them to force the decision to spend that brace and unlock that ECM, but that typically is not going to happen all that often. And HTT doesn't care about getting accuracies. It just cares about pure damage output. And if you brace, great. I still blast away at the one zone I want to. And if you don't, then I potentially still get a lot of damage. It's just, I don't know. For me, it just seems like HTT is going to become more prevalent. So that's just kind of my thoughts on that. That's my SSD build. Just, I'm spitballing ideas out here. Yeah, HTT and XI7s is redundant. You don't need both, because then you're still not accomplishing your goal, which is to drill and punch, because they're counterintuitive to each other. You really only want one or the other, and there's still an argument to take XI7s. I just think HTT is going to become the more prevalent upgrade card over XI7s in the future. Yeah. See, Biggs has got it. Biggs has got the idea. He's getting. We've been talking about this on the Armada Discord, and I've kind of have gotten a few people maybe not to come around to the idea of HTT, but we're talking about it more, which again blows all of our minds. We're talking about HTT when it's never been brought up in conversation at all. Yeah, man, HTT loves it when those shields are gone, and then you just like blasting straight into hull zone. It's great. Yeah, HTT, it's the developer card. They're like, we need to look 5 years in the future. We want this card to be good then. It's like the developers are like Obi-Wan Kenobi watching over Luke Skywalker and Tatooine. They're like, we gotta wait for his time. His time is coming. We must wait and we must train him. Yeah, XI7s had their period of time where they're good, and I will still admit that if you're fighting MC30s, XI7s are still going to be way better than HTT. But I mean, it's still an MC30, and if it's an MC30, guess what it is? It's still Abnumission. If it's Abnumission, guess what it has on it? It's got Lando. It's just like you're still having a hard time killing it regardless. So XI7s is not going to give you as much benefit as they used to bring. Yeah, Biggs, I remember, now that you mentioned that, I think I remember reading an article about on Steel Command. Yeah, they just they weren't good back then because there wasn't any ships. I mean, there's the ISD and the MC80, but it just wasn't prevalent. There just wasn't enough to make it worth it. But now that there's more and more and more big ships coming, it makes it more worth it because we've got 3 current Rebel large versions. We've got 4 different ISD large versions, SSD, 2 new large ships coming. Now that these big ships are so relevant, it makes that card more relevant. And yes, HTT just like with everything just continues to fuck everything fucks over raiders. I mean, you look at him sideways and the raider explodes. So just nothing helps the raider. Poor raider. Even Iden Versa was great and Corvus is great, but you're still taking a raider. uh Yeah, HTD wants guys with lots of dice throwing lots of dice against a big ship. Well, Triple Ace, remember the new Rebel commander that's coming out. She'll be able to give a brace to an MC-30, and then you're gonna be sad. I think what was the new dumb combo we were talking about the other day? You get an MC-30, the torpedo. You get what's his bucket? What's his bucket? Where is he at? Where he at? Where he at? Walix. So you get something like Walix with a get who's 20 points. So now you have an MC-30 that's got double evade, double redirect, and a brace with adnomition. GG, you are wrecked. You are never killing. If you think it's hard to kill adnomition before, this is just lulzy. And again, if you want to super tank it up and give it ECMs for its brace, it's aggravating to think about, guys. It is so aggravating to think about because then you can give it fucking APTs, ordnance experts, 112 points. So not much more expensive than what it already is, and it won't ever die. Again, if you think that they were hard enough to kill before, this will never die. This ship will never die. And that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Granted, she's only for one ship, Aget is. She's only ever going to be on Admo. It's not Riken. It's not Mothma. But just the fear, the pure rage-inducing madness that this combination is going to bring to the table. I'm just mad just thinking about it. I'm just mad just thinking about this gonna happen. Because I know there's a guy in my meta who at regionals all he ever runs is MC-30s. And don't you think for a minute that this is not what he's gonna try to make work and bring over Riken if he can do it. Oh, that just makes me mad. I don't want to think about it. I'm going to delete this. Let's just back out of this. I don't even want to talk about that stupid. That's just infuriating to think about. Ugh. Yeah, good luck trying to ram it if he's got first player though, or second player. It's just good luck trying to ram it. Yeah, you can ram it to death, but man, that's just gonna be super difficult. SSD is a fine lifeboat. If it's dead, it's over anyway. That's right. The SSD is the best lifeboat. What are some other things that you guys want to talk about? We've talked about some of the lists. We've talked about some hot takes about how the meta is going to change with HTT, with the SSD. Again, with the SSD, it's not highly competitive, but it is competitive enough that if you build it right and you play with it right, will it ever be a world champion list? I don't think so, but could it make top 10? Yeah, I think SSDs could make top 10. I like how fast they play. Man, I played an SSD on SSD list on Vassal the other day. We were done in an hour. It was great. Fast games are good. Ooh, Nathan. Yeah. I keep the new officers. Or if I even bring up, why don't we bring up let me bring up the wiki real quick. Oh man, I can't even believe I've been going for almost 2 hours too. But we'll talk a bit more and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, the new fleet command, take evasive action. Oh, so good. So good. I love it. So take evasive action at the start of the ship phase. You may discard this card or spend a nav token if you do until the end of the round. Each friendly ship may increase the last yaw value of its current speed by 1 during the determined course step. I can see this being put on SSD. I mean, yeah, it could be good on SSD in higher point games. So you can use your natural navigation yaw on something else. I think evasive action is good. Oh, let's run through the new generic officer expert shield tech. So expert shield tech, pretty much it reduces damage by 1 instead of redirecting. So what is that good for? Squadrons. He's 5 points. He takes a generic officer slot, which so most rebel ships actually, they want to take officers, but typically they only want some officers in some specific locations. Where is expert shield tech going to be great at? Nebulon Bees. Nebulon Bees with the auxiliary shield teams. With you gotta have Vanguard. So Vanguard, I think, is pretty nifty. The new Nebulon B title. So you gain a gunnery or the weapons team slot, and at the start of the first round, you can replace a defensive token with a redirect. So remember, it gets double brace and evade. So what would you trade off for it? I mean, depends on what you're going up against. If you're going up against something that is throwing tons and tons of die, get rid of the evade is my thought. Keep your double brace. Because the evade's not going to really help you if they're throwing 5 red dice at you. I mean, yeah, it might cancel the one double hit, but I think I might just rather have double brace in the redirect. Or you could go for 1-1-1. I would advocate for 1-1-1 in squad heavy if they bring a ton of squads. That's a really good defensive. I mean, it's what Demolisher has, and he does okay. But the what's their faces? The expert shield tax allows you to pretty much cancel a damage. Yeah, you reduce the total damage from attack by 1. So if they only throw the 1 damage, you spend a redirect. You don't lose any shields, and you just don't take the damage, which is great for Nebulons. Nebulons love that. Same thing with MC80s. MC80s, I typically, unless you're not taking strategic advisor, usually that seat sits empty on an MC80 anyway. So it's good on there. I guess if you really, really wanted to put them on an SSD, you could. I just those seats are so highly contested though. It's hard to justify getting them on there. Who else would enjoy expert shield tech? Not much else is really coming to mind for ships. Archidins? Archidins would enjoy expert shield techs. They've got double redirect. That's a thought. Had thought about that before. Yeah, I definitely would say Archidins would love them because you hardly ever take any officers on your Archidins. So that actually kind of makes sense putting expert shield tech on Archidins. It makes them a little bit more tanky. I guess you could advocate for putting them on victories. And that's about it. That's really about it, because your Quasar Fire, you're gonna want somebody on there. I mean, I guess that seat could be empty, but I always put Slicer Insurance on my Quasar Fires. If I have points for him, I take the Wing Commander guys. Don't slice away my squad command, please. I don't know. What about other Rebel ships? Let's take a look. Read the comments, see what people are saying. PSDs. Yeah, he could go an MC30 instead of Lando or something else. Haro Victua. Yeah, but if you're taking Tua, you can't take the Shield Tech guy. Ooh, Hammerheads. Hammerheads would like the Shield Tech guy. Why? Squadrons. So if they're coming up to shoot your front, you don't want to redirect and lose a shield off your side. Spend your redirect, cancel one of their damage. You still have full shields. Boom. They're great on Hammerheads. Great on, you could put them on MC30s too. I think they're going to be awesome on Hammerheads. Same deal with CR90s. Typically, those officer seats are empty, so I'm sure CR90s are going to work good. You could advocate for the potatoes, but typically I'm taking Lando on my potatoes. I feel like they need, it's vital that they have all the defensive tokens. But yeah, MC80s. You could make an argument for the Pelta, and that's about it. I really think you're going to see them on Hammerheads, though. I really, really do think you're going to see them a lot on Hammerheads to help them out against Squadrons. Because that's their only drawback for Hammerheads right now, is that Squadrons just eat them alive. And Redirect doesn't really help with that. So that gives them a reason to buff a little bit longer. Reserve Hangar Deck. I'm kind of hit or miss on this card. Yeah, I am happy that they are encouraging more generics to get on the field. And it's cheap at 3 points. So they're great with flotillas. So, as to be expected, Rebels don't care about this card at all. Oh, you killed my Z95. I guess I'll bring my shitty Z95 back. Granted, the Z95 is only 7 points, and at least, it could roll wombo combo. Look at the 6 damage I just rolled compared to a TIE Fighter, which is happy if it. I'm ever happy if it ever rolls 2 damage off 3 blue dice. I think you're going to see Reserve Hangar Deck more in used with encouraging bringing generic Jump Masters for intel rather than Dengar. So generic Jump Master is 12 points. This is 3 points. So for 15 points, when you lose your intel, you can bring them back and still have intel. Sure, he's at half health, but at least you still got him. Otherwise, this does encourage you to bring more generic interceptors. I think this is great for interceptors. Because what do you typically want to do for your interceptors? You want to chuck them out there in an alpha to kill things. Then they get flacked and then they explode. Well, then this allows you to bring them back and then fling them out again for them to then explode again. That's a thought. I don't see anything wrong with that. You put 2 flotillas in a Star Destroyer or 2 flotillas in a Quasar Fire. So if you got 3 interceptors, you throw the 3 interceptors out, they explode, you bring them all back. They're speed 5, so they can quickly get back into the fight. That's not bad. I'd say that's a good trade-off. Typically, they're wiping out, 2 to 3 tiny interceptors with good rolls can wipe out at least an ace and a half. They're definitely helping with that. I think that somebody's going to figure out a way to make these work, and it's going to be dumb. Because it's definitely an Imperial favorite card. And Imperial squadrons are already just so dumb in anti-squad to begin with. Captain Rex is bullshit. I'm going to say it right now. Squadron, you may choose one enemy ship at close range. That ship gains 1 raid token of your choice. And that's when he resolves the squadron command. So he's going to be great on flotillas that have like Bright Hope. They're like slicer flotillas. Not only did I slice you, I gave you a raid token, and I'm still going to command these squads. Yeah, I'm Captain Rex. And then, yeah, he's going to stick on them with slicers and everything else, and then they can't get rid of those freaking raid tokens. Ridiculous, Rex. Ezra Bridger's sweet. Move, like with the Force, move stuff around, move obstacles around. I think you're going to see a lot of him in the near future, especially to combine with the gravity rifts. Because pushing a gravity rift in front of somebody's ship and then watching them go to speed 0, and then you just blow the fuck out of them. A+. I'm on board. Put him on a Put him on a Riken Yavaris. Move that rift in front of a big ship. Put your Yavaris right there. It's like you're not trapped here with me, or I'm not trapped here with you. You're trapped here with me. That's terrifying. Going speed 0, and then Yavaris just rolls up and he's got first player. He's like, "Sup, bro? I hope you don't like having health." Sabine, eh, eh. I don't think she's very good. She's more mines. Yay, more mines, I guess. She's still 4 points. You can do it at any part of the ship face. I don't know. I think she's kind of crap. Commander Ventro or Vantro, Eli Vantro. Eh. If you want to get tokens, why not bring a Comsnet Gazanti? Why not bank a token and bring Wolf and get it back? Because I don't like his timing. I don't think he's awful. I just don't like his timing. After you resolve the first command, you can get a token. Yeah, it's of any type. That's cool. But you've already done your command of what you want to do anyway. I don't know. He's interesting. Walder. I know a lot of people. When I first saw him, I was like, "Oh my god, it's finally an Imperial version of Troll and Far." Not as good as Troll and Far. Nothing will ever be good as that person. He's going to encourage more advanced transponder nets heavies, which don't have swarm. So he's going to encourage that, which is nice. Having my TIE bombers be able to reroll any die, but again, it's only when they are attacking squadrons. It doesn't help against ships. Ugh. YVs are still going to suck. It's like, I want to bring YV666s, but guess what? Can't reroll their crappy blue die, so dumpster pile. We talked about Iden already. A lot of people all know about Iden Verso. We know all about the Corvus and Haro. Let's talk about Liberator. I know a lot of people are super confused by Liberator, and they're all like, what's the point of this title? Like, why? Why would you bring this title? The 2 cards. So this is pretty much just, you're already bringing a CR90. It's a cheap title. You want a one-time use. And you don't want to bring a Pelta, but you want to move squadrons faster, for example. It's great for all fighters follow me, because you typically only ever need that command card once. Typically, you only ever need entrapment formation once. There is an argument to be made that when you want to resolve intensify firepower, it could be useful for that. But by and large, you're going to see it in fleet lists that have B-Wings, and they want to toss those B-Wings at speed 3 with flight control teams, fighter coordination teams, and so they can get speed 4 B-Wings. That's where this card is going to be good at. I don't think you're going to see it for much else. Maybe for take evasive action, but I really don't think so. It's not a bad title. I mean, it's cheap. So 7, 6, 7, 8 points at most for a one-time use fleet command. I'd buy that for $1. Jumpmaster honorable mention. Tai go home. Bingo, Interceptor. Yep. Salone. Yeah, Salone reserve hangar decks. Yep. Yeah, Ezra is fun. Chimera. I guess that makes sense with Vantro. Vantro on the SSD plus strong gives you 2 dials and 2 tokens per turn. Yeah, I agree with Biggs. Add nothing else. Yeah, it's just hard to justify Vantro on an SSD at 400 points. I can justify Vantro on an SSD that has 4 officer seats at higher point games where you want it to do fleet commands. This I can justify bringing Vantro along. I think Vantro will be great for that at the higher point tiers where I don't really play. Weapons, battery, techs. I think these are interesting. I'm glad to see more variety for the weapons team slots. While attacking a ship, you can change one die from face of an accuracy icon to a face of a crit icon. So, I mean, what's not to love about this? It changes it when you roll too many freaking accuracies. who has not rolled like 5 accuracies in a roll and gone, well, this sucks? So at least it's die modification, especially for Kuats. Kuats will love this card. Um, Kuats will love it because you can guarantee the critical. Granted, ordnance experts, if you're rolling black die, is what you're going to want. So there's uses for this card. It all just depends on what you build and what you're trying to have your Star Destroyers do. I don't know what else really is going to get much benefit. I guess if you brought Jonas along, you're turning stuff into accuracies and then spending it for the critical icon. It does combo super well with Jonas. I will give it that. That's, Demo with that and Jonas floating nearby. Demo already loves having Jonas nearby. An LTT. LTT is a good card. You mean you take DTT, you look at it and like, oh, this is now obsolete, and you can just throw it in a dumpster pile. That's a DTT now. Find points for LTT because it can be used for any attacks that you make, so you can reroll 2 die instead of just the 1 die. And for if you're doing flak, you can just specifically choose one squadron and say F you squadron and throw more dice at it, like Merrick Steele or Luke Skywalker or Neum. You just choose that one squad and you kill them. Well, you don't kill them, but you know what I mean. I had somebody tell me, so Super Star Destroyer at long range, so he's throwing the 1 red. Why, right? So he had Callus add another red, and then he had LTT add in blues, and he was able to one-shot, or not, he was able to one-shot a squadron because he was able to get 2 accuracies and like 2 double damages. It was some crazy roll, which you can have those happen. So he rolled like 4 or 5 die on an anti-squad. Oh, because Ravager. So the 1 red, right? And then Callus adds a die, and then Ravager die, and then Ravager die, and then LTT die. So 6 die on 1 anti-squadron attack. Murdered a 5-hole squadron. Blew it up instantly because he got 2 accuracies, and he got 5 in the 5 damage off 6 die. Because he got doubles. He rolled reds and he got doubles. just instantly murdered that one squad. That one squad in particular, just straight murdered it. So there's that, I guess. Take it on Super Star Destroyers to kill squads. There you go. Doesn't kill ships real good. And we're kind of 2 hours in. I'm kind of getting a little hungry. I had a little bit of dinner. I didn't really want to get too much into objectives because objectives, guys, that's a whole nother discussion on objectives. And I feel like we've talked enough about things and about uses for things that these all could have. So prediction for the meta. Where is the meta going to go? I don't think anyone really knows quite yet because it's going to drastically shift. But hot take, squadrons are still going to be a thing. Heavy squadrons are still going to dominate. I think that with all these upgrade cards and everything else that we get in Rebellion the Rim, it's going to make that more different looking. You're definitely going to see a huge more variety in what is brought. And it's not going to just be the same old things that it used to be. Except you're still going to see for Imperials, you're still going to see Squall with heavy squadrons, Jendon, Merrick Steele at the very least. You're still going to see for Rebels, Yavaris and, a bunch of squadrons, whether that be rogues or not rogues, and Riken. I mean, those aren't going away. Those are still going to be around. There's just more tools to change what those lists look like and change how you can respond to those kind of lists. Does this do any of these upgrade cards help squadronless lists at all? Yes and no. I still think squadronless lists are still going to struggle against squad lists, but I do feel like they have a few more items in the belt to kind of help with heavy squads now to make squadronless be slightly more valuable. Is it going to help with MSU? No, MSU is still in the dirt. With the SSD out there, with Simoons out there, uh, you know, Liberty's out there, Radis out there, MSU is still going to suffer. MSU is in an awful, awful, awful place right now, and I don't know how they're going to pull it out because all they're doing is giving more large ships, and these large ships have tools to deal with small ships. They aren't threatened by small ships, even by multiples. I don't know how to bring MSU back. A lot of people have been struggling. They want to bring MSU back. It's just so hard when so many things throw a literal fistful of die at it and it just explodes. And for what? What did it accomplish? It shot once and then exploded. Guess what? Next round, it just happens. Rinse, lather, repeat. All your small ships blow up. What did you accomplish? Did you even kill anything? That's just kind of slightly frustrating. I love MSU because MSU I think is a really, really high skill floor, and nothing's coming out that's helping MSU right now. That's my take on meta. Larges are still going to dominate. You're going to see some variations. You might see the ISD-1 come back because it's got the double offensive retrofit, which is crazy to think about. I would love to see the ISD-1 in more play. I definitely have ideas about how I want to bring an ISD-1 back into play. It's just so hard to look at the ISD-1 and then you look at the Kuat and just not always be tempted to take a Kuat, though. It's very, very hard. But who knows? Lots of options. All right. I've talked for a little over 2 hours now. I think we've got enough material here for enough people to kind of chomp on, think about. I'm gonna try to do these live stream like talks like once a month. It's so hard in the summertime because of my work schedule and everything else in my life right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed what we did have. I think that we discussed a lot and we were able to have enough back and forth conversation to kind of get some creative juices going for not only yourselves, but I think for anyone who watches the video. Any last bits, comments anyone wants to throw out here before we shut this thing down? No, Biggs, you didn't troll the comments too hard. If anything, you kept me on track and you did provide excellent input. Thank you guys so much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. I'm going to eat the rest of my dinner. Again, I had fun doing this. I want to do more. For Steel Squadron or Cannot Get Your Ship Out or anyone else, I love to do future video collaborations where we can sit and talk and be nerdy talking heads instead of just me talking the entire time. All right, I'm going to bounce out. You guys are great. And like always, I'll catch you all next time.